On today's video, I'm going to be selecting the electronics for the custom guitar I'm building. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series, I'm building this guitar from scrap parts. That means I'll be picking everything out of this pile of old parts I've accumulated over the years. This guitar is going to be a 2 humbucker guitar, so I'm going to need 2 humbuckers. So I'm going to go through all these bad boys with my digital multimeter. So to test a pickup on a digital multimeter, the first thing you're going to need to do is select the ohms mode. So that would be over here in this quadrant. That's the ohm symbol. The next thing you need to do is select the range. So for a pickup, we're going to want the 20K range. And the other thing you want to do is make sure that you have your leads in the right ports, I guess you could say. So we got a black one, and it's going into this black lead that says communal. It's basically the ground, I guess. And then we got our red lead going into the ohms voltage terminal. The first pickup I got here is out of an Ibanez Destroyer. So this particular pickup has 2 wires, so all we're going to do is hook up one lead to the one wire and hook up the other lead to the other wire. And then you can see the multimeter over here. It's saying 7.31/7.32. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape on here and write the number down on the back so we know. Let's try one of these guys out. Okay, so this doesn't appear to be giving us a reading. I think this pickup might be a dud. Right, like our multimeter is working. See, when we put the leads together, it goes down to 0. So we know it's working. Put an X on that for dud. Let's try this other silver one. Okay, so that's like 5.36. But I feel like this isn't even really a humbucker. Oh, here. Yeah, this is just a single coil. It's just a single coil in a humbucker case. All right, then we got some of these black ones. Let's see what we got here. So this one is 7.5. We got this other black one. This one's got a N for neck, so I'm guessing this is going to be lower than 7.5. Let's see. .42, let's say. So we're gonna go with these 2 old dirty black humbuckers because of the color. Goes well with the color scheme of the guitar. I'm glad that they both work though. So hopefully they sound good. We'll find that out. Now that that's figured out, we need to select our potentiometers. For humbuckers, you want a 500K pot. I've got some pots here. I know for a fact some of these don't work, but you know, hopefully at least 2 of them work because we're gonna need 2. These ones here, like this one turns really easy. This one's like hard to turn, and this one is kind of hard to turn. So maybe we'll try with these first. You want to change the range on here. We still want it to be in ohms, but I heard that it's better to go into the 2000K ohms. So that would be 2 megs, I think. Okay, so when you hook it onto the outside ones, it kind of just gives you like the overall resistance of the pot, but then you got to like go in the middle one to get kind of a partial reading. Right? There we go. So if we turn it all the way down, it goes to 0, so that would be no resistance, I think. So that would be like full on volume. And then I'm pretty sure that would be like the volume's off. Okay, so that one clearly works. So let's try the same test on this one. Okay, so you can see it changing when I turn it. So this one obviously works too. Okay, so we got 2 pots. So we're gonna need some more stuff too. We're gonna need a capacitor for the tone dial, an output jack, a pickup switch, and some wire. I didn't even have any old capacitors, so I found these 2 bags of new capacitors that I got here. Okay, so I wasn't able to test these capacitors with my multimeter because it doesn't have a capacitance function. But I was able to look them up online from the little markings on them, and I was able to find out their values. So ideally what we'd want for humbuckers, at least from what the internet tells me, is 0.022 microfarads. So we don't have any of those. What we got here is 0.05 microfarads, and we got a zero point 0.1 microfarad. So I'm pretty sure that I bought these for a base that I was going to build. So these ones here, the 0.05 microfarads, I think is what you would put in a guitar with single coil pickups, but it's the closest thing we got to what we need. So we're just going to use one of these for our guitar. So it'll be an interesting experiment. So I'm going to put one of these in my pile with the other electronics, and we're going to use this for our tone. So now we're going to need an output jack, and I got a few of them here. Let's just go with this one. I got a good feeling about this one. We need a switch. So I just found this switch, which is going to be, I think, probably perfect for what we need. It's a 3-position switch. And yeah, so I think that's going to be great. Hopefully this one will work. Let's just try this. And then we'll put this one over here. I think this works. So we'll go with this switch. And then we got some wires here. Hopefully that's enough wires. So now we got all our electronics picked out. Now I'm going to wire up this pickguard. The first thing I'm going to do is put some shielding on the back side of the pickguard. It's a working man's shielding. Tin tape. This is what is used to seal up the seams in your furnace ducts. Don't confuse this with duct tape. This is actually made of metal. Will it work as shielding? Well, it has to be better than nothing. So let's just give it a try. Okay, so that's done. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Now I'm going to install the pickups, the switch, and the 2 pots. Okay, so now we got our 2 pickups, our switch, and our 2 pots mounted on our pickguard. Now all we have to do is wire everything up. First thing I'm going to do is just peel this off of here because we don't need this anymore. First thing we gotta do is wire up this switch. Long story short, this is where we're gonna hook our neck pickup up to. We got 2 wires here. We've got the white wire, which is like the hot wire, and then we got the other wire that's kind of like the ground wire. We're gonna put our hot wire into this lug here. That's gonna hit it with a little bit of solder. Now we're gonna hook up the hot wire for our bridge pickup to this terminal here, the far end. Okay, now we'll just melt some solder in there. Okay, now the next thing is we're gonna need to get a wire from this middle lug on the switch and have it come over to this first lug here on our volume control. So, got some used wires here. This one looks nice. Let's use it. So, we're gonna join this onto the middle lug here. Solder that puppy on. Come over here. Join it onto our first lug of our volume control. Okay, so from this center lug, we actually got to go to the hot wire of our output jack, which has conveniently got a wire attached to it already. All right, so we're putting the hot wire into the middle. I should have done this when I was soldering this, but we're going to run a wire from this terminal from the switch and we're gonna hit the middle terminal on this pot here. All right, so that's done. Next thing we gotta do is attach this capacitor. So we're gonna attach it on this lug of the tone, but then we gotta actually solder one of the legs to the case of the switch. Beautiful. All right, so now we just gotta hook our grounds together. So we got some black wire here. We'll use this for our ground wire. So we got the ground wire soldered on the back of our tone pot. Now we're gonna come over and solder it on the back of our volume pot. So now that's soldered on the back of our volume pot, and we gotta get our ground from our output jack as well. So maybe I'll solder the ground for the output jack onto the back of the volume. Okay, so now the output jack is fully connected. Now I just got to worry about all these grounds. So we got 1, 2, 3 grounds, and I need another ground wire to hook up to the back of my whammy claw spring. So let's break all the conventions and just use a white wire for our ground. Normally you'd use a black. The question still remains, how will I join all these together? Basically all these wires need to get twisted together. All right, that's pretty crazy. And then we got to go into the ground on our jack. You know what? Let me know in the comments if you want me to explain this more. But for the time being, I think that we're just going to worry that it works, right? So I got my output jack here. This is a ground wire that's going to go to the spring claw on the whammy bar. So what I'm going to do now is just go in to where my amp is, plug this in, and just make sure it all works as it's supposed to. Okay, so here we are. I got my amp. I got a cable running, coming down, plugged into the output jack of this pickguard. All right. So first thing we're gonna do, let's just test it on the middle position first. So this is just a screwdriver bit. You want something made out of like ferrous metal, iron, steel, something like that. So the bridge pickup works. The neck pickup works. Let's switch it to the bridge position. So the problem here is I've got my switch wired backwards. In the bridge position, it's the neck pickup. And in the neck position, it's the bridge pickup. Not a big deal. I can switch that around. Okay, so it doesn't look like the volume is doing anything. So I'll have to look into my volume control. But the tone, all the way up, all the way down. So the tone is working. So it all works, except I got my switch backwards and my volume. So I'll have to figure that out. Turns out I forgot to put a wire from this lug of the volume to the ground. And that's why my volume wasn't working. So we'll do that. I'm also going to flip this switch around if I can. I hope I can. I just don't want to rewire it because I'm lazy. Okay, so I got my switch turned around. I didn't have to unsolder anything. Now I just got to solder a wire from this lug to the back to our ground. So that should be good. Okay, so here we are back at the testing rig. Bridge pickup works. Neck position. Neck pickup works. Middle. Both work. Let's turn the volume down. Nothing. Okay, turn the volume back up. Okay, and now let's turn the tone down. Turn it back up. Okay, so our pickguard is wired up and it's working as it should. So now that's done. I guess that's it for this episode. If you found that interesting, maybe you might want to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. In that episode, I'm going to be buffing out the finish on the guitar I painted with spray cans of car paint. After that, I'll be assembling it, setting it up, and then showing it off. So until next week, talk to you later.